So here we are with another Natter That Matters, because of all conversations count. And today I have the lovely Sarah with me. Hello, Sarah. And I think maybe you should introduce yourself rather than me having a go at it. Why don't you? Tell us about yourself.
No, fine. Well, I'm Sarah Hodgkins, and for the last almost 19 years now, I have run a company called Charlotte Designs. And basically what I do, in a nutshell, is design and paint very, very large scale paintings that go directly onto walls. So no canvas or paper or anything like that involved. Sometimes it's floors, sometimes it's ceilings, sometimes it's doors, but generally speaking, it's walls. And I do those mainly for businesses. So I'm about 70% commercial, about 30% domestic. But the big thing is they're big, they're huge. Not your little A4 watercolors.
No, definitely big. And if anybody's watching this rather than listening to it, I'm assuming behind you is one of said big watercolors.
Oh, on the wall? On the wall is, yes. So I did that about a year ago when Vivienne Westwood died. She's one of my heroes. So I had a beach scene on here, and I came in on about the 4th of January and went, right, that's it. We're having Vivienne on the wall. I just painted over Grenada and did Vivienne.
Well, I love that. Why not? Vivienne is there's not many Viviennes that spell it the same way as me, so she does, obviously. Vivienne.
She's one of my absolute heroes, complete heroes.
It was a sad day, wasn't it? Yeah. So what else do you paint then? Tell us what else. So you had Grenada, you said on the wall. What else? What else have you painted? Tell us all.
To be honest, there isn't much now that I haven't painted. It would be a much shorter list. I like landscapes, and it is fair to say that I do naturally gravitate to landscapes. I'm a farmer's daughter, country girl, so the whole landscape thing really appeals to me. But you know what? I'm one of these people that likes to get out my comfort zone, and I like to try different things. I would say I find portraiture more of a challenge. So I actively go out there and try and do portraits to improve. And I also find urban landscapes more tricky. So I have gone out of my way to try and get better at those things. Oh, and I think you do. I think it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get. And I actually quite enjoy doing portraits now, believe it or not. So it does work.
Anybody ever painted you?
Not that I know of, no.
There might be one somewhere, yeah. I wonder
I paint on holiday and draw on holiday, so I often sit on my lounger and sketch people, and they won't know that I've sketched them. Someone's maybe sketched me, I don't know, but I'm not aware of it now.
Somebody might have sketched you sketching someone else. No.
Very great. But no, it's not that I'm aware of. I'm sure they could find better specimens to draw.
So why that medium, and why that kind of place? Why not paintings? Why that?
I come from an interior design background, and for me, it's all about creating something really special. Canvases are great, and don't get me wrong, I've got a house full of canvases. I love canvases. I love, hanging art. But there is something very, very special about the scale and the way that a good mural becomes part of its surroundings. And it does. It's like a painting you can walk into, which you don't get however big a canvas is. So for me, it really is something quite magical about it. And people connect with it on lots and lots of different levels. And when I'm painting, especially when I'm out painting in public, honestly, I mean, how I get anything done is an absolute mystery to me, because people are just stopping all the time and they're like, oh my God, I love this. We need more of this. Oh, this is fantastic. They really engage with it. And I think if you just hung a canvas on a wall, you wouldn't get the same reaction. There's something about the scale and the way that it blends with its surroundings, I think, that makes it special.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be bloody good, don't you? Because like if you paint on a canvas, like you say, and it doesn't go so well, you get a new canvas out and start again, don't you? Whereas it must be hard if you do it on the wall wrong. I've never watched it. The nearest I've done to watching anything like this is watching them like street art where it's on the floor, which I suppose is similar, using all sorts of weird and wonderful things, chalks and things. But once you've gone wrong a bit, it's not like a canvas. Canvas is a different scenario, isn't it?
It is very different from painting a canvas. Yeah, you know, like you quite rightly say, if you do something wrong on a canvas and you make an absolute hash of it, you can just chuck it in the bin and get a new one, and nobody will know. The problem with mural painting is you are on show, whether it's in public and you've got lots of people watching you, or whether it's just the client sitting there watching you. And trust me, I've had clients sit and watch every single brushstroke. They know when you've done something wrong. On the flip side to that, there are ways of putting these things right. If you stand back and find out in time, you can normally wipe stuff off before it dries. And if it does dry, to be honest, you can just paint over it. But I meticulously plan things so it doesn't go wrong very often.
No, well, only been doing it for like 100 years by the sound of things, Sarah. So you look kind of, it's like things don't go wrong in business when you kind of know what you're doing, do you? I mean, actually, that's not true. They do sometimes, but yeah. And so, so when the client comes to you, would they know what they want, or are you then giving them a sketch, or do they like how does it all work? I'm curious.
So it varies enormously. There is a massive sliding scale from people who, so for instance, I did a project for a client where they've got a holiday home down in Portsmouth, and they live in Oxford, and they wanted the view from their balcony on their holiday home to be in their garden in Oxford. So they took a photograph, and it was just a case of replicating that photograph on the wall. So that's very, very easy. There's not really a lot of design involved in that. To completely random stuff, like, you know, I'm working on quite a few school projects at the moment. I mean, I've literally been working on one this afternoon where she's like, well, I'd like some beach huts, and maybe, I don't know, some of the things in Hastings there, maybe the castle, I don't know, maybe not the castle, I don't know, and maybe the children, and then maybe not the children. Oh, I don't know if the children's quite right. And you have these conversations.
She's not got a clue, really.
I have those two extremes and everything in between. So my job is to extract as much information from the client as humanly possible, because even those who say, I don't care, do care, they just can't articulate it. And get that information and translate it into a design. And I would say that's my strength. That is my strength. I'm really good at the design part. That, I would say, is where I'm cut above the rest. I actually don't paint really any better than anybody else, but what I'm really good at is that design bit.
Yeah, them painting what they want, essentially. So you're painting
what they want. Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, so that's the bit I think that sets me apart.
I just had a rebrand, and the designer that did the rebrand, luckily I knew anyway. And so the question is, what do you want? I'm like, well, I don't really know. I mean, I did know colours, so I was kind of halfway there. But I said, I kind of want a bit of this. And I created a Pinterest board and just put a load of stuff on it. So there was a little bit of, but they were trying to find out what that was. So they were trying to find out, so what is it that you like about that? And I don't really know. It just looks all right. I don't know. Like, it was a real challenge, because we like things and we don't know why we like them. We want things and we don't know why we want them. We're like, you know, we can see a painting and we'll buy it, won't we? And we're not sure even really why. I remember, and it still sits with me, and I really wish I'd bought it, from an artist in Bedfordshire, and it was like it was a canvas, but it was quite 3D, so I kind of had a lot of texture with it, and it sparkled. There was something sparkly on it, not like glitter, but there was something about it, and it was a tree, and I still remember it. It was about 500 quid, and at the time, I mean, I'm going back years, I didn't have 500 pounds.
No, it's a lot of money.
In my head, I'm like, I should have bought it. There was something about it I felt. So, like, there's definitely something about it, isn't it, that we feel. It's a very strange.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what makes being a creative difficult, is that sometimes people can't articulate what they want, and your job is to try and ask those questions that get that information. You mentioned Pinterest. That's a fantastic tool, and I use that quite a lot. So I will set up a secret board with just myself and the client, and we can both pin things on there and enter into a dialogue as to, yes, I like this bit of this one, I like the colours of this one, but I don't like this one. This is absolutely what I don't want. And sometimes that's important to understanding what you do want. So, so yeah, Pinterest is a great tool, actually, a great tool.
So, how much does one of these cost? I mean, you know, if I wanted a giant in Westwood, but I wanted
there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables. So I'm very, very good now at knowing how long something is going to take me to paint. So most of my stuff is between 1 and 5,000 as a very rough gauge.
Age, yeah.
But things like, how big it is, how rough the surface is. So, brick or breeze block will take longer to paint and therefore is more expensive than a
Yeah.
flat plastered wall.
Yeah.
If you want to introduce things like text, for instance, that takes longer, so that makes it more expensive. If you want to add people in there and want a likeness, that too adds more time, so that makes it more expensive. So there's lots and lots of things that I know influence how long it's going to take me to do something. Scaffolding, that's a perfect example as well. You start introducing scaffolding into the mix, and that's going to take longer because I spend half my day going up and down scaffolding.
I
And
never
I
really
get
thought about that. Because most of us can't, most women can't reach the top of a ceiling, can we? So yeah, how do you paint that bit? I never even thought about that. I suppose if it goes higher ceilings, it's like, because you need to be on top of it. You haven't got a roller, have you? You can't just be a roller in the top like the rest of us would. No, you need to be on top of that. It's yeah.
And you
Oh,
can't just go up a ladder. You can't just go up a ladder because you need to. I've always got several pots of paint on the go at any one time. So there's no way I could hold paint and hold on to a ladder. It just wouldn't be safe. So I tend to use scaffolding or cherry pickers most of the time.
Wow. So no fear of heights for you then?
No.
And heights, so I wouldn't work too well on that. And so the first time you did one, I'm just really curious as to the history of this because it was a long time ago. If you can remember that far back, I'm sure you can. The first time you did one, was it like quite scary? Like, did you know, or were you absolutely confident from the beginning?
It was scary. The first, well, it depends what you mean by the first time, because I started doing this first of all in the 80s. So I was young in the 80s and nothing scared me then, to be perfectly honest.
Born, surely.
No. It was, I had someone with me. The first time I painted, actually, I had the guys that I learned from with me. So no, it wasn't scary at all because they were there saying, oh, you perhaps want to just adjust that and do that and do that. So actually, it wasn't scary at all. The first time I did it and charged, I think that was probably the scary moment, if I'm honest. There's something about charging for your artwork. I think if you talk to any artist, they would say the same. There's something about charging for your artwork that is scary. There's no doubt about that. And I talk to a lot of artists who really do struggle with that monetary part of what they do. So that for me was the scary moment. I think the first time I charged. And then when you put your prices up every time, that's scary too.
Same with coaching. I remember the first time I coached someone for free, it was all like, I haven't got to prove myself in anything. And the first time I charged, like even though I knew I was really good at it naturally, because some things I'm naturally good at. You're naturally good at that. I'm naturally good at coaching. So what's the vision then? You're gonna, because I know you're really young now, but what's the vision moving forward? Is there a cut-off age where you're like, I do not want to be up scaffolding, holding a paintbrush? What's the next stage for your business?
To be perfectly honest, it is probably retirement or certainly semi-retirement. My husband wants to retire in 2 years. I initially said no, but as I've got that little bit older, certainly jobs on scaffolding start to take their toll a little bit. So I am starting to think about options for exiting the business.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to look like yet, so I probably don't want to say any more than that. But Charlotte Designs will continue. There is no doubt about that. How it will continue, not entirely sure yet. But yeah, to be honest, that's my plan. I've worked very hard for 19 years and will have worked very hard for 21 years.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm ready for a bit of a break.
I can say some stuff though, so you might not want to, but I can kind of just say stuff and see how you react, can't I? Because that's kind of who I am, really. So I'm just when you were saying that you had these people you learned from, and they came and kind of kept you. Surely that's the stage for you to be then more kind of mentory. Surely.
I've tried. I have tried to find people to work with me for the best part of 8 years. It's incredibly difficult. There are very few good mural artists out there. There are even fewer that can paint in any style, but they have a style of their own which they need to stick to. And there are even fewer that I would trust to go out onto a client's site, because don't forget, that's the big problem I have. You're not sitting in a studio here and you can, you know, swear and do whatever you like. You're out on client site, you're client facing, you're in their home or their business or a hospital. So I need people DBS cleared. I need people who are going to be trustworthy, representing my name. And the combination of those skills, I have discovered, is exceptionally difficult to find. And trust me, I've looked.
And so are you talking about from hiring people you mentor to take over your business, or are you talking about people that want to add that to their skill set that you train and kind of, well, certify maybe? I don't know.
To be honest, I've tried both. I've tried both. I have my Sarah too, my one lady who is the closest that I've got to filling that position. But even she, by her own admission, has found the business side of it very difficult. And we worked very closely together, certainly in the early days, to try and get over that. But I think it's not a natural combination of skills. It's not a natural combination of skills to be an artist and a business person.
Not at all.
And I sometimes forget how rare I am. There aren't many of us out there. And it does need to be someone who can do both.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's just, I've just found it really hard to find. And I stopped looking about 3 years ago. I thought, you know what, I'm wasting so much time interviewing people, you know, or I find somebody. I interviewed this lovely guy once, really nice. I was thinking, do you know what? I actually feel like this is a possibility.
Yes.
And I said, great, you know, could you come and see me? And perhaps we could spend some time together, working on the mural and so forth. Didn't drive. I said, how do you propose to get to a job? He said, oh, I can use public transport with your paints and your ladders and your dust sheets. And you have no idea where your clients are going to be. Not a clue. In fact, I actually can't think of any client that I've serviced in the last 19 years that's anywhere near a station. It's just not possible.
Yeah, tricky one. Oh.
I know. I got very disappointed and told him to go and pass his driving test and let me know when he had.
That's 12 years ago. Is it? So and do you have the other thing? My brain's got loads of questions because this is something I don't do.
Fire away. Go.
Do you have repeat business where someone you paint the mural and they think, oh, we don't like it after, I don't know, 5 years and let's paint over it, or where they've had I don't know if you've done them where they've got their children on them and the children have grown up and they add bits to it, or does any of that happen? I'm just thinking how I would want.
Not much that I do have. So my repeat clients, because most of my stuff is commercial, they will have had me paint a mural in one part of their office, then they decide to have a meeting room done. Or like I do a lot of hospitals, so I will do one part of the hospital, then they'll take me to another part of the hospital and they say, oh, we built a day room, can you do something in the day room? So my repeat customers are not people painting over it and it's adding to it. So I've got plenty of sites out there where I've got 8, 9, 10 murals. And even domestic clients, I will paint one room for them and then they'll say, oh, actually, we were going to put wallpaper in the dining room. Could you do mural? So it's more adding to rather than replacing. In fact, I've only ever replaced, I'm trying to think, I have replaced some murals, but not many, half a dozen maybe. Once they've got them, they never want them replaced.
Just thinking I get bored quite easily, so I'm just wondering if I would get bored with one. So when I expand my offices and I need my logos and branding all put on the wall, then I know where to come, don't I? So it sounds like you do a bit of that as well. So if anybody's listening or watching this and they need that, before Sarah retires, I suggest you get in a bit quick. That's all I'm going to say, because it doesn't sound like she's going to be around forever, and she is like rocking horse shit. Not many of her around by the sound of things. So where she can design it and deliver it, and obviously and be a good supplier, because again, it's a bit like, you know, when you find a builder that's good, isn't it? You want to keep
Absolutely.
them. So it's brilliant to get to spend a few moments with you. And there must be a way of planning your way out of that business, most definitely.
Oh, there is certainly. One of my close friends is a business consultant, and one of his things is to help companies to exit. So I had dinner with him just before Christmas, and so I'll get him on the task now.
Yeah, Leave it with him, yeah. Wow, it's lovely to
So, but
see.
yeah, I'm not in a hurry. It's not going to happen for a little while. And I think I will end up continuing to work in the business, but perhaps at a lower level. Just do more. The trouble is, I love to travel, as you know. I love to travel. So travel is my thing. And I will just redress the balance and I will do more travel and less painting.
Just a nice switch over, lovely. Wow, very nice to have you. Thank you for spending this time with A Natter That Matters. And it really is that, isn't it? Because all conversations count, as I always say. If you want to get in touch with Sarah or follow her to indeed see her great work, which I feel sure is on some social media platforms somewhere.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the website's the best place. So charlottedesigns.co.uk is the best place. But when you said you hadn't seen any of my painting, you need to go onto the YouTube channel because there are 60 plus time-lapse videos of me painting.
No. Oh, I did not know that. I'm on. I'm off there to follow that. So there you go. So go onto the website, and I'm sure the YouTube channel is on there. And then you can go and have a good old nosy and see just how talented and how unicorn-like Sarah is, really. So it's been lovely to have you here. Thank you very much, my lovely. And I look forward to watching all of your paintings for the next 2 or 3 years.
Thanks.